students. Today's lecture is on social organization in insects. The social organization, we have to discuss it in two insects primarily, the termites and the honeybees. These insects are social insects because they tend to live in a more integrated and organized societies or the colonies. The societies have three main characteristics. They are highly organized. The individuals of the colony shows morphological specialization, and there is division of labor of the individuals. Reproduction in them is limited to one or few individuals of the colony, and the other duties are distributed, and there is division of labor. The social structure of the insect colony is developed and is maintained by trophallaxis. That means there is mutual exchange of regurgitated liquids between the adults of the social insects or between them and their larvae. Communication is basically because of the secretion of chemicals which are referred to as the pheromones. First, we will discuss the social organization in case of termites. The termites are also referred to as the white ants. First of all, their colony. The termites dislike the daylight. Some live in tunnels and the other lives in highly specialized houses which are referred to as the termitaria. The tunnels are excavated in the wooden structures such as logs, articles of furniture and living trees. Other lives in well-specialized nests which are referred to as termitaria. Termitaria has the network of irregular galleries or chambers, and there are also gardens for cultivating the fungus. This termitaria is built by the sand grains glued together by saliva or feces. On drying up, the material becomes hard like cement. It is underground and sometimes it's project above the ground like a many-peaked hill. Then polymorphism and social life. Basically, in case of termite, there are two castes. There are several castes which are mainly of the two types, the fertile and the sterile caste. The fertile caste are the sexual caste and they are of three types: the large-winged or Macropetris, short-winged or Brachypetris, and the wingless or Erpetris. Firstly, the large-winged forms. They are the king and the queen. They are commonly referred to as the royal couple. They have chitinized body. Wings are extended beyond the hind end of the body. The compound eyes are large. Ocelli are usually present, and the sole duty of the queen is to lay eggs, and the king fertilizes the queen. Normally, there is only single royal couple, but many are formed during the swarming stage. Then the short-winged or Brachypetras form. They are the supplementary kings and queens. They have less chitinized body as compared to the large wing. Their wings are short, pad-like and vestigial as compared to the large winged. Their ocelli may be present or absent. They replace the true sexual form in case the later dies. Wingless or Erpetras form. They are rare and occur only in primitive species. In this, the wings are absent, compound eyes are vestigial, and ocelli are absent. Sex organs are poorly developed. Wing forms resemble the workers in appearance. Then there is sterile caste. The sterile caste are wingless, eyeless, and blind and colorless. Sex organs are rudimentary. They are incapable of reproduction. These are the only castes which are capable of reproduction. They are also of three types: the workers, soldiers, and nasuits. First, the workers. Workers are most numerous of all the castes. They are generally dimorphic, two types, small and large. In some cases, trimorphic is there, which are being small intermediate between the small and the large. The work of the workers is to construct and repair the nest, to collect and distribute the food, to look after the eggs, to feed the different members of the colony, that is, nymphs, soldiers, and royal couples. Workers sometimes also cultivate certain fungus in these gardens which are present in the colonies, and they are basically, these fungus are cultivated and they are feed to the royal couples and nymph. Then comes the soldiers. Soldiers are slightly larger than the workers. They have large sclerotized head with huge serrated mandibles. Mandibles is a very essential characteristic of the termites. These are the different members of the colony of the termites. This is the primary king and the primary queen. These are the fertile classes. This is the winged reproductive class. These are fertile classes. These are the workers, which may be small or large, dimorphic. Then the soldiers. These are the Nesiute soldier. These are the mandibulate soldiers. They are slightly larger than the workers. They have large sclerotized head with huge serrated mandibles, sclerotized head and serrated mandibles, mandibulated soldiers. Like the workers, they may be of two or three forms, small, intermediate, and large. Soldiers defend the colony. Their sole purpose is to defend the colony by killing the intruders with their mandibles, these sharp mandibles. These are the mandibles. Then the Nesiutes, these are the Nesiute soldiers. They have the pointed proboscideans. They are referred to as proboscideans because they have this rostrum. This. So these are the different caste of sterile caste and the fertile caste of the termites. So Nesiutes are also known as a proboscideans. They have vestigial mandibles. They possess a large head prolonged into a rostrum. This is the rostrum. Which bears at the tips an opening of the frontal gland. There is opening of frontal gland. They carry the chemical warfare. They throw a jet of sticky secretion of frontal gland on the invaders, which kills or immobilizes the enemies. It is also used to dissolve the hard substances such as stone, which comes in the way of the workers while building the nest. The Nesiutes occur in place of the soldiers in higher termites. They can be of a small, intermediate, or large size. The soldiers and Nesiutes, the soldiers and Nesiutes are not very successful. Then the feeding. So these were the different members of the termites. Then comes the feeding. Basically, they commonly feed on living and dead plant material. They are able to digest cellulose because they have the cellulose digesting microorganism, protozoa, trichonympha that live in its intestine. They can also take fungi and dead bodies of their fellows. Swarming. Swarming usually occur in the rainy season. True king and queens are produced in large numbers. They leave the termitarium through holes which are made by the workers. This is called swarming or dispersal flight. Mortality is very high during and after swarming. A vast majority is being eaten by the birds, lizards, toads, and ants. These are winged forms. Only a few lucky survives and found a new colony. Then is the founding of new colonies. At the new site, one king and queen mate. They shed their wings and dig out a burrow and start a new colony. The queen lays eggs there. These eggs tend to form the royal couple and hatch into workers, which soon take up their duties. The stored fat and the reabsorbed flight muscles, which are found in the founding couple, are used for feeding purposes as they are not able to get their food before the workers are formed. And as soon as the first batch of the workers are formed, the duties have been assigned to these workers. Some eggs and nymphs are eaten by the parents as well during the development of the new individuals from the eggs. The kings live with the queen for life and they mate at regular intervals. The queen grows her abdomen to an enormous size and it cannot move and lies passively in the royal chamber, which is mostly in the center of the nest. She is tended by the workers and defended by the soldiers. Her abdomen gets packed with the eggs and it may live up to 6 to 15 years and lay millions of eggs during her life. She is thought to be the most prolific of all the insects. When her fertility lessens, feeding is suspended and she dies of starvation. Her body is eaten up and the new queen is formed in the colony. The king changes a little. He only grows a bit longer because of the good diet and passive life spent near his queen. Then comes the colonies of the honeybee. Honeybee is referred to as the Apis indica. Honeybee society or colony may continue year after year in the same nest, which is referred to as the hive or comb. It has three castes, the queen, drones, and workers. Usually there is only one queen in the colony, 500 to 1000 drones. One queen in the colony, 500 to 1000 drones, and rest are all workers. Workers are basically the sterile female, and the drones are the example of parthenogenesis. They are developed from the unfertilized eggs. Usually, the size of the colony is from 10,000 to 16,000 individuals. In some species, there can be lack of the individuals in a colony. The queen is fertile female. Its sole duty is to lay eggs. It is the mother of the colony. It is unable to form a hive or honey. She is fed on special diet and is waited upon by the workers. Her sole purpose is to lay eggs, and it also secretes the chemicals which prevents the development of the other queen. Drones are the males. Their duty is to mate with the queen. Out of several hundred drones, only one mate with the queen during the nuptial flight. The drones do not work in the hive, they are fed by the workers. Workers are the sterile female. They perform different kinds of tasks in the colony. The old workers visit the field and are referred to as the foragers or the field workers. They gather nectar, pollens, raisins, and gums, raisin or gums, and water to the hive. Young workers stay in the hive and are called house bees. They are also categorized into different categories. They can be storekeepers, which receive the material from the outdoor workers and store it in the cells, the builders that construct wax cells, the repairers that plug crevices between the cells, cleaners that remove dead and waste material, fanners that ventilate the hive by beating their wings, guards that defend the colony, and nurses that feed the larvae, drones, and queen, and the waiters that attend the queen. The workers control the production of the new queens and disperse the species by founding new colonies. Food collection. Basically, while visiting the flowers, the honeybees collect two kinds of products, the nectar and the pollen. First, the nectar is basically the sugary secretion in the flower. It is sucked by the special sucking tube which is found in the mouthparts of the honeybees. It has chewing and lapping kind of mouthpart. This nectar is swallowed into large sac which is called as the crop or the honey sac. At the hind of the sac is a wall so as to check the escape of the honey except at the time when it is needed as food. In the crop, the sucrose or the cane sugar of the nectar is acted upon by the enzymes which are present in the saliva, which is secreted by honeybee. And this sucrose or cane sugar is converted into glucose, levulose, or fructose, which are readily assimilable by men. On returning to the hive, the the foragers regurgitate the hydrolyzed nectar into the storage cells. These storage cells are then changed chemically in the mouth of young workers that stay home. The fanners then evaporate excess of the water from the sweet fluid by vibrating their wings. The final concentrated product is the honey, which is stored in the cells and is sealed with the wax lids. They are opened only at the time of the need. Honey is principal food of the adult bees and the larvae. The color and the flavor depends upon the source of nectar. An average trip is carried by the honeybee is 2.4 kilometers. A single bee needs to collect a kilogram of the honey by traveling 4.5 times the distance around the world. Then the pollen. The workers suck nectar from the flowers. While doing so, many of the pollens from the anthers of the flowers get stuck on the entire body of the honeybees. These are removed with the help of the legs and are stored in the pollen baskets, which are the specialized structures present in the hind legs of the honeybees. On returning to the hive, the worker pushed the loads of pollen into storage cells with the assistance of the young workers. Swarming. It occurs during the late spring or early summer. Its purpose is to relieve overcrowding and to found new colonies. Several queens and numerous drone cells are constructed and eggs are laid in them. On a fine forenoon, the old fertilized queen leaves the hive and flies away, accompanied by a large number of old workers and drones. Then it swarms and constructs a new hive. The old colony is left with young workers and developing queens and drones. The queen that emerges first takes place the charge of the colony. She stings to death other developing queens, and as queen does not tolerate a rival in the hive. Only one queen is always present in a hive. Marriage and nuptial flight. About a week after her emergence, the new queen flies out of the hive. She is followed by many of the drones. The drones gradually drop out of the race, and the last survivor reaches her and mates with her in the midair. Her spermatheca is filled with spermatozoa, which is sufficient to fertilize the queen and her eggs during her life of 5 years. The queen usually mates only once. After mating, the drone dies as after mating, the drone dies as its copulatory apparatus is torn off and left in the body of the queen. She returns to the hive where copulatory apparatus is removed either by the queen herself or by the workers. In about 3 days after mating, the queen starts laying egg. Then she does not leave the hive until she grows old and leads a swarm to found a new colony. Drones may be killed by the workers after nuptial flight. The hive is generally built hanging from the rock or building or a branch of tree. It consists of thick vertical sheet bearing two layers of hexagonal chamber, the cells. The cells are either the storage cells or the brood cells. The storage cells lie in upper portion of the hive. They are used for storing honey and pollen. The brood cells occupy the central and the lower portions. They are alike in Apis dorsata but are three types in other species. They can be worker cells. These are of the size of the storage cells. They are used for rearing workers and they lie horizontally. Drone cells, which is used for bringing up the drones, they are horizontal as well. The queen cells, they are still larger and are used to rear queens. They may be cylindrical or vase-like and are vertical in position. The hive is built by the workers out of wax which is secreted by the special glands which are present in their abdomen. The wax collects in the form of small flakes on the undersurface of the abdomen. From here, they are removed by the hind legs and passed on to the jaws. The jaws convert the wax flakes into plastic material by masticating and mixing them with the secretion of cephalic glands, and they mold it into a plastic material into cells. Crevices which are formed in the cells are cemented with propolis, a sticky resin which is collected by workers from the plant buds. The chambers are polished with balm, a special type of propolis, before use. Once built, the hive is used for many years. The various chambers are periodically cleaned, repaired, and polished for reuse.